Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Hello, my name is Alsan Fadila. I'm from Law Study Class A. In this video, I want to convey the result of my paper entitled Legal Protection Against Child Victims of Sexual Violence. Crime cases do not end and continue to occur. Various media report many cases of violence in which children are victims, one of which is sexual violence against children. Reports on cases of sexual violence against children are still increasing, making many people feel sad and angry with the perpetrators. However, the victim has not received legal certainty, and the punishment for the perpetrator of sexual violence is considered very light when compared to the impact of the crime he committed. Legal protection is an element which is very important, namely the regulate citizens who are victims of criminal acts. Since the pandemic hit, crime cases have not ended and continue to occur. Various media have reported many cases of violence in which children are victims, one of which is sexual violence against children. Reports on cases of sexual violence against children are still increasing, making many people feel sad and angry with the perpetrators. In 2020, the Minister of Women's Empowerment Child Protections Gusti Ayu Bintang Darmawati said from January to June 2020 there were 3,928 cases of child violence. Therefore, according to the President's mandate in 2020, the government target the priority of the next 5 years was to reduce violence against children and protect children. Data from the PPA Symphony from January to 17 June 2020 was almost 3,928 cases of violence against children, including sexual violence, physical violence, and emotional violence, but almost 55% of the cases were sexual violence. Judging from the case of violence against children, these are very concerning facts and need attention from every group. Formulation of the problem: how is legal protection for children as victims of sexual violence is obtaining legal grounds that can alleviate the loss they have experienced, and how is law enforcement in an effort to prevent perpetrators from becoming a different incoming acts of sexual violence against children. Children are basically mandated from God Almighty, which must always be protected because they have inherent dignity, worth, and right as human beings that must be upheld. Children's rights are part of the human rights contained in the Constitutions and United Nations Conventions of Rights of the Child in terms of national and state life. children are the future of the nation and the next generation of the nation ideals. So that every child has right to survive, grow, develop, and participate in, and has the right to protection from acts of violence and discrimination, as well as civil rights and freedoms. Several cases show that between investigator, producer, and judges, there is not common perfect perceptions of children against sexual violence committed by pedophiles. Prosecutors often prefer to use the criminal code rather than using the Child Protection Law. Even though this Child Protection Act was enacted with the aim of ensuring the fulfillment of children's rights so that they can live comfortable, how and develop according to their age, and participate optimally in accordance with human dignity and protection from violence and discrimination. Penalties relative like and law enforcement is weak, requiring very high costs and mental sacrifice that tend to make victims avoid legal process. In the case of criminal acts of sexual violence against children, other countries have implemented the dread of the death penalty, castration system, and various policies to curb the rate and explosion of criminal acts to sexual violence, such as in South Korea, Turkey, and the Philippines. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, it seems that it's not a big problem, especially because there is a culture of shame and does not dare to admit the fact that this is a big problem and many children have become victims. Efforts that can be made to reduce cases of criminal acts of pedophilia are by giving severe sanction or punishment to the perpetrators and providing legal guardians or caretakers to each victim of the crime. However, in addition to giving punishment, the perpetrator must also be given psychotherapeutic treatment so as not to repeat the crime, and provide guidance to the public about how dangerous pedophilia is, as well as the character of target pedophilias and the characteristic of these pedophilias. This can reduce non-criminal cases of sexual violence by pedophilias. That's all for me. I'm so sorry and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.